I really need to work on keeping some snacks in the car, but it's a beautiful day for enjoying the mountains, and that's what I'm gonna do with the rest of the day. Let's check out this trail. The nice thing about it is that it's only 10 minutes outside of Denver. So welcome to Wilderness Runner. If you've never been on the channel before, thank you for joining. And today's gonna be on this pretty entry-level trail in Colorado, but it looks really beautiful so far. It's just the right speed, just the right pace for me right now. Getting back into running after quite a long time off, and I'm gonna warm up by walking the first mile or so. If you've never been to Colorado, this is a pretty good glimpse into the east side of the mountains. So the scenery in Colorado does vary quite a bit. It's late May right now, 2025. Everything's looking really lush, very green for Colorado, not as rocky and dry as many of the places and times that I've seen it, but this trail looks just absolutely gorgeous. There's a hummingbird there. One thing about Colorado is a lot of elevation and a lot of elevation changes. This trail's been pretty mild so far, but based on the map, it looks like there's a few different options. It's about 5 miles in on the initial trail, and then there's a summit trail that's about 1.5 miles branching off of that. I would assume that that summit trail is pretty steep, because if you're talking 5 miles to get to that point and then only 1.5 miles to the summit, I'm assuming that's some pretty steep elevation changes. This is a really nice gradient. I don't feel like I'm climbing a steep trail, but when I look down at what I just passed over literally a minute ago, I'm way above it. I was just in Michigan 2 days ago. You can look at that video, running around on the pier in New Buffalo, Michigan, barely above sea level. So I'm at least over 1 mile up now, and I'm gonna blame the deep breathing 100% on that. It couldn't possibly just be because I'm out of shape. It's actually definitely because I'm out of shape. I would actually rather it be because I'm out of shape, because out of shape can be fixed. Not being able to catch your breath above sea level, it can also be fixed by getting into better shape. But some people do better at elevation than others, and I'm one of those who does well at elevation typically. So I'm definitely just out of shape. Right after I shut the camera off there and said I'm super out of shape, I felt the impulse to run and started running. And that's a big part of the mentality that I have in this channel, and I want to remind myself of consistently as I go about maintaining the channel and hopefully getting better and better footage and excursions up on the channel. This is about doing what's fun, doing what comes naturally, with the caveat that you got to put yourself out there into the right situations. So I'm gonna run when it comes naturally, when it feels natural to start running. I'm gonna go only as long as it feels natural. Trust that I will grow and improve as I have at other points in my life when I've started running with that mindset, with that philosophy, I don't think that held me back from progress. It just made that progress more fun and at the right pace that came naturally. Because I don't think that you have to force yourself to move faster, that you don't want to move faster. We all want to move faster. We all want that feeling of effortlessness, of flying, of running and dodging and ducking and just moving quickly through the world and through the landscape. There's something primal about it. We want it. You don't have to force yourself. If you're forcing yourself, it just means that maybe you're pushing slightly ahead of what you're actually ready for. And this is supposed to be fun. So when I feel like running, I'm gonna let myself, and if I feel like stopping 15 seconds later and walking again, then that's what I'll do. But in no way has that mindset impeded my progress as a runner in the past. Because what you might not feel like doing today, you will feel like doing tomorrow. I have no doubt that we want to get better and better. You don't have to make yourself want that. It's completely natural to want it, and for you to achieve it, for the action of achieving it to come naturally and be fun. And I don't think that these other things like climbing around are a distraction from the main point of running, because our bodies need variety of movement, and you can do that through a stretching regimen or whatever, a stretching routine. You can be very regimented and intentional and consistent, or you can do things like climb around on rocks and play ultimate frisbee and whatever other sports you're into, and move in ways that are fun, you know. And I think that a lot of that stretching happens, and this is like a lot of life too, like anything you're learning, whether it's physical or mental or whatever. All those regiments and routines are just designed to replicate, or maybe even sometimes improve upon, or at least provide some consistency for movements that are actually very natural and normal that we make in the course of just everyday work and play. But then we take all these things and try to make them more efficient. So we've tried to make our work more efficient. So you go to work and you do one repetitive motion all day long because that's the fastest way to get something done. And you don't do any other jobs, you just do one job so you can learn to specialize. Because once you specialize, you're more efficient and you can do it faster. And if everybody specializes, then we get things done faster. But the trade-off and the consequence is we give up this normal range of movement and motion and knowledge, physical knowledge, mental knowledge, intuitive knowledge. We give all that up in the process, and then we end up adding it back in through things like stretching routines and exercise routines to actually make up for what we are lacking in our everyday, day-to-day life when we try to do things more, quote, efficiently. So my question is it really more efficient if we go spend 8 hours of our day doing something we don't like, and it has all these negative impacts on us, and then we end up adding more other hours into our day to try to compensate for it by doing exercise in a way that's not even as fun either, because we have tried to fine-tune it to provide those movements and those stretches that we're not getting through what should just be normal life. So thanks for coming to my TED Talk, and for the rest of it, I'll try to focus a little bit more on the natural beauty, because right now, really, I'm modeling what I think the solution is. I just got some work done. I got a job done. And it's my self-employed job. You can check that channel out if you want to. Send it Delivery Co. I'm always figuring out new things. It's always a different challenge. It's physically and mentally stimulating in a different way every day, except for all the driving. But in moderation, even that provides something, provides rest. And now I'm out here enjoying the trail. And that's kind of somewhat close to what I think life should look like. At least it's not maybe a complete picture, but it's a glimpse into part of what I think life should look like and be like and offer, and what we should take from it. So instead of focusing on what I'm not doing and what I don't think works well, let's focus on what I'm doing here. Just walking and running in the mountains, that's it. This is super cool already. And it's totally up to me. Do I want to go farther? What need is greatest? Is the need of experiencing this, of going farther, of seeing what's next? Is that greatest? Or is the need to run back into town and get some food to eat, is that greatest? It's 100% up to me. I can make whatever call I make, and it's fine. So and I get the security of a consistent 9-to-5 job. I've actually worked some things that resembled that, at least. I really liked that consistency, to be honest. There's something great about this too, this freedom. And maybe it's possible to have both.
fun.
Hey, thanks, you too. I didn't need him to do that, but he did what is common courtesy. On trails, he yielded to the person going uphill, and the path was wide enough. I really didn't need him to do that, but it was really super polite and good modeling of the standard etiquette, and a good reminder for me, because if I was in his spot, I probably would not have stepped off to the side, and I think most people would have been okay with that, but it reminds me that that is officially the proper etiquette on a trail like this. This is super gorgeous, but I don't think there's any way that I'm hiking 10 miles round trip just to do this hike, or like 14 miles to actually go up to the summit on an empty stomach, which is always a little bit hard to accept when I'm going to not do everything possible within a specific trail or trip or adventure. Because I really like to have the ultimate possible experience with everything. But there is something to be said for easing into it. And I have not run, let alone run in the mountains, in quite some time. So I think it's probably for the best to maybe go a little further, see if there's anything that gets especially interesting relatively close to where I am, and then turn back. And it always goes a little faster on the way back down, usually a lot faster. This is a beautiful change of scenery here. The shade is really delicious. Ooh. Hey, how you doing?
Good, are you?
Good, thank you. I think this is a good stopping point. Wherever I go from here, I'm probably gonna see a lot of the same things, but from higher. Hang on a minute. It's also possible that this is gonna crest that ridge, and I'll be able to see over the other side. So this is the thing with these types of hikes. You just let yourself go as far as you want. You always end up wanting to go farther because, I mean, just check this out. That mindset of maybe just a little farther, maybe just a little farther, over and over again, still wanting it, you know, the whole time, ends up getting you farther than a mindset of, I have to make it to such and such a point. Because if you have that I have to make it mindset, you're just fighting it the whole time. Like, so much farther. I don't know if I can do it. But if you have the, I'll just go till I want to stop, and then you keep just wanting to go a little bit farther, wanting to go a little bit farther, working through those moments of tiredness, just walking when you need it, etc. And then even though you felt like you couldn't run anymore, 2 minutes of walking later, find yourself running again. And I think often you end up going farther than if you set yourself a goal that feels daunting from the outset. Check out these flowers. Late spring, early summer is definitely a good time to come to Colorado. Oh, what's going on up here? Probably a false path that I wanted to clarify. Don't go down this path, it's not a path. Which is a bummer because this is the ridge. So I can see why people want to go there. That's the quickest way to see over the other side, but I bet it's not far here either. So tempting to go off path, but there's a lot of signs, and it's well known that it's just not really the right thing to do. These paths are here, they're established. They allow us access into these beautiful landscapes. And to keep it beautiful, we should usually stay on the path. I think there are some exceptions, like wilderness areas where there is no established path, nor is there a whole lot of desire for human traffic. Animals move through those areas all the time, leave their minimal marks along the way. It's okay for humans to do the same. There's just not enough human traffic through wilderness areas for it to be a big deal. But where there is an established path, the right thing to do is stay on it or on the rocks immediately adjacent to it. It would take probably literally millions of footsteps to wear down these rocks in any noticeable way. So here I am, posted. This is private property off to this side. Here I am at the ridge that I wanted to get to see over the other side. And it looks very much the same, except that there's no city down there in the landscape. I think that looking down on a city from the surrounding mountains is a pretty cool scene. But it's also nice to see what it's like to just look out over the expanse of mountains. So now I think it is time to head back. I've met every reasonable goal. At this point, it almost seems like going that way might be just as fast, but I don't know that. And according to the map, it really shouldn't be just as fast, because this is supposed to be a 5 mile. The way I read the map, if I remember right, was that it was kind of 5 miles in, 5 miles out. And I have not gone 5 miles yet. I'm quite positive of that. So that means that if I keep going, I'm gonna have all of the 5 miles back out, as well as the remainder of the 5 miles in. I know how far it is this way. So bottom line, I'm gonna take the path I know. Enjoy running down it. It's always different. It's a nice thing about an out and back into the mountains. You still get a different experience on the way back. And then I'm gonna go eat some sort of incredibly delicious, I'm thinking like Thai food or something similar. A lot of people believe in saving money by not really going out to eat. And I think that from the perspective of saving money, it makes sense. I really think that grocery stores are gouging us currently. And by the time I buy enough snacks to fill up on, I'm spending just as much money. And I'm also contributing to a lot of packaging waste. I'm sure there's packaging on the stuff that comes to restaurants too, but it ought to be a lot less because it's sold and shipped in bulk, and then the restaurant handles it from there. And if you go out to fast food, almost everywhere, I end up spending like $13 to $15 on fast food to get enough for an actually satisfying meal. And like that's still what it costs to get a really good fresh cooked meal at some restaurants. It's not every restaurant that has really good food at that price, but they do exist. And fast food has tons of packaging. It's terrible for the environment. It's terrible for the world we live in, and that means it's terrible for us. So, all that styrofoam and plastic wrappers, everything that you end up throwing away, I'd rather go sit down at a place that's going to put food on a plate, and I'll eat it with real metal silverware, and then they can wash it and reuse it. And finally, I really believe in an economy that provides jobs and where we do things that we like to do. Hopefully, most restaurant owners like running a restaurant. It's kind of something that's pretty specific. It's not a factory job. You hopefully do that kind of thing because you have at least some degree of interest in it. And anything can be overdone. I'm sure that working at a restaurant day in, day out can get tiring. And you can lose that passion over time. But at least if the passion is there to start with, there might be ways to rekindle that spark as you go, knowing that you're doing something that's at least meaningful, that you at least had some pretty serious degree of interest in from the get-go. So when we are too concerned about saving money, I think it just takes all those joyful things out of life. Because if I'm not going out to eat, then the restaurant owner can't afford to go do anything. And then whatever business they were going to go do stuff at, now they're not making any money because the restaurant owner can't afford to go there. And now no one can afford to do anything. So I think that there's something to be said about that poverty mindset and that vicious cycle that it creates. And it's not like some sort of magical, mystical, mysterious thing. It's just that if we don't go spend our money at local family-owned places, those local families aren't going to have money. Then they're not going to be able to spend their money at ours. So I think the real key is to be part of it, to do something that you are passionate about, and to recognize that it's okay to make money doing something that you're passionate about. And it's also okay to go spend that money instead of hoarding it. Because when you spend it locally in the community, it's going to come back to you. And all those fun little things that there are to do are going to stay around. And we're going to have them to continue to enjoy. So, thanks for coming to my other TED Talk. Running a little bit chaotically down these trails is always super fun. Ugh. A lot of mental exercise in this too. I'm not in shape to maintain that pace, but still really fun, and a glimpse into where I can still get to. How's this camera angle? I can't see it. Please stay on the trail, which apparently is here. Am I looking the right way? Lost track of which way the camera's facing. I feel pretty clumsy, like not terrible. Still think I'm moving down this faster than a lot of people who've never gotten used to this at any point in their lives would, but I feel super clumsy. I think the important thing in those moments is to not get down about it, right? I'm bound to be clumsy. These are skills that do kind of come back, like riding a bike, but you're gonna be rusty if you haven't done it for a while. And if you've never done it, you're probably gonna feel really clumsy and incapable. That's okay, it'll come. Don't even worry about it. Whew. This is a lot of fun, man. I'm glad I'm out doing this. It's crazy what gravity can do for speed. And it's also crazy how much exertion you still end up making personally to maintain that speed. I do remember a time when I could pretty much run endlessly at that speed down trails like this. Like, I'd have no doubt about maintaining a running pace at or similar to that from here to the bottom. And I think the verdict is out on whether I can regain that, because that was 15 years ago. But I sure want to give myself the best possible chance. And that just means continuing to do it at the level at which I'm able to.